Hello everyone, thank you for joining today's webinar, Stayntouch Product Enhancements, version 5.49, Import Budgets via CSV, Connecting Room Indicators, and more, presented by Stayntouch Implementation Consultant, Arbor Masadi. I'm your host, Erin Fisher, the content writer here at Stayntouch. Today's presentation will cover how you can get the most out of the Stayntouch Cloud PMS version 5.49 product release. In this webinar, we will explain how to import budgets per market code and charge code using CSV file, demonstrate that guest name and room number display for consumed charges on group allowances, illustrate the country column added to the yearly tax report, including the report's inbox and the scheduled report, highlight improved bill balance display when charges are posted to the guest bill and routing exists, demonstrate group Proforma invoice improvements, show how to perform an Ideas G3 inventory sync, illustrate that the origin for CRS bookings will now display based on rate plan configuration, highlight reservation and group status indicators added to the Action Manager and the Action Manager report, show how to set up connecting room indicators, demonstrate that suite rooms now show on the rate and restrictions report, show that room number was added to the reservations by user report, and finally show that tax exempt type was added to the tax custom exports stays data space. We'll have a short Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Feel free to submit questions throughout the presentation and we'll answer them in the order they are received at the end. And that's all I have right now. Arbor, I'm going to hand the presentation over to you.
Thank you, Erin. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Perfect. Hello, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon. Today, I'll showcase for you the new improvements that are available in Proforma PMS, starting with the first one, import budget per market code and charge code using CSV file. Now, you will be able to import budget via a CSV file either per month or per day. To do so, you will need to navigate into our menu, Financial, Budget, and on the right side of the screen, you will see the Import CSV button. By clicking on it, you will be prompted into the screen where you will be able to select the file to upload for the budget. In order to upload the budget by day, the user must first select the month, and then again on the right side of the screen we have again the Import CSV button. By clicking on it, you will be able to select the document that you will need to upload for your budget. The budget can only be imported for a date starting business date +1. Any records that have a date range prior to the business date +1 will not be imported. In this case, if you upload the budget for the month of March, it will be imported starting from the 25th of March. The second topic is the guest name and room number display on consumed charge on group allowances. By going into our menu, Group, Manage Group, and then by selecting the group that you would like to consult. In Transaction, you will see the Allowance button. And here we have added two new fields, which is the room number and the guest name. So you will be able to see the room number and the guest name for each allowance that has been consumed by the guests. Just something to point out, in this case, this option or this improvement will be available only if you have activated the allowance functionality on your property. Otherwise, you will not be able to see the allowance button in the transaction menu within the group itself. The third improvement, it is related with the yearly tax report. Now, for the yearly tax report, we have added the country column. Once we have generated the report by going into our menu, reports, and new reports, then selecting the report, you will be able to select the year and as well the company or travel agent cards with tax ID or without tax ID, or both of them. And as well, you will be able to select the countries, all of them, or you will be able to select the countries that you desire. Once you have generated the report, by going into our report inbox, you will see that the column of the country is added into the report. The country column will be as well available in the printed version of the report. And even in this case, we have the country column. And as well, it will be available for a report that has been scheduled. And in this case, I have already a template of the report, how it will look like. And here we can see that the country column is present in the report as well. The column will appear for companies and travel agencies with or without tax ID. Like in this case, the company, it doesn't have any tax ID, and the travel agency, it has a tax ID. The third improvement, it is related with bill balance display when charges are posted to the guest bill and routing exists. We have improved the service that controls the bill balance updates. Bill balance will now be updated instantly once the charge gets posted on the guest bill. Even with routed bills, the user will see the balance update instantly. Let's go and see an example. In this case, I have a reservation for which we have billing routing in place. And if I post a charge, let's suppose I'm going to post for this example sorry for that. I'm going to post a charge of 50 euros, and by posting it, we will see that the bill balance will update instantly. So now there is no need to exit the bill balance screen in order to update the bill balance. Another improvement, it is related with the group Proforma invoice. Group future transactions that are used to generate the group Proforma invoice are now recorded individually for each occupancy type linked to the group. This will make the tracking of revenue items and taxes easier to calculate and display on the Proforma invoice. By going into our menu, groups, manage group, by selecting the group and then going into our transaction, we will be able to see the new Proforma invoice. As you can see, in the new Proforma invoice, the room type breakdown will be displayed per occupancy type. And here we have, in this case, we have standard single room with an occupancy type of 1 and the quantity. We have the double room with the occupancy type of 1 and as well the quantity of 1. And we have the double room with the occupancy type of 2 and the quantity of 1. In addition, add-ons per occupancy type will display below the room types, and the same add-ons for each occupancy type will be grouped together. In this case, we see that for breakfast, we have the quantity of 2, which is related with the occupancy type for the standard single room 1 and the double room and occupancy type 1. So in total, we have 2 add-ons for these 2 rooms and with the occupancy type of 1. In addition, for the second one, the breakfast, it is related with the other double room, but which has the occupancy type of 2. And in this case, again, we have the quantity of 2. Furthermore, in the new Proforma invoice, non-picked up and picked up rooms will be identified separately. Picked up rooms are marked with an asterisk, and which will differentiate from the non-picked up room. Even in this case, we see that the room type breakdown is displayed by occupancy type, and as well the same add-ons are grouped together based on the occupancy type. In this case, we have breakfast with the quantity of 3, which is related with the 2 first room that we have the quantity of 3. So 1 standard single room and 2 double room single occupancy. So in total, there are 3 breakfasts. And the second breakfast add-on, it is related to the second double room with occupancy type of 2 and the quantity of 1. So in total, there are 2 breakfasts. Last but not least, in the new Proforma invoice, taxes will now be displayed for both picked up and not picked up rooms, and will take tax exemption into consideration. As you can see, we have, in this case, we have the taxes for the add-on, which is exclusive from the add-on itself. Another improvement, it is related with Ideas revenue management system. You can now perform an inventory sync for Ideas G3 in Stayntouch. For this, you will need to navigate in our menu, Settings, and then Integration, Revenue Management System, and you will need to select Ideas Revenue Management System. By activating the interface and G3 interface, and by switching into the sync display, you will notice that the inventory checkbox is added into the synchronization display. You will be able to synchronize future data by clicking the inventory checkbox, and as well by selecting the date that you would like to apply the synchronization. You can this will allow you to initiate an inventory synchronization for up to 31 days at a time. You will be able as well to synchronize historical data. For this, you will need to select Synchronize Historical Data. Even in this case, the 31-day limits for synchronizing historical data is in place. So in this case, you will be able to synchronize from the 1st of February 2022 until the 4th of March. To initiate an inventory synchronization, either for future or historical data, you will need to select firstly the date that you would like to synchronize, then to check the checkbox of inventory, and then click the synchronize button. Once you have synchronized, and if successful, you will see a message, success synchronization initiated. After performing an inventory synchronization, you cannot initiate another sync for the same date range for at least 180 minutes after the last sync. If you attempt to initiate another sync before 180 minutes is up, you will receive an error message that states a resync can only be ordered once in a 180-minute time frame. This is all for RMS. A new improvement, it is related with the CRSs that now take the origin from rate plan if available. When a reservation is downloaded from a CRS and the rate plan has an origin assigned from settings, rates, and again rates, by selecting our rates. And in rate details, we can see in additional details, the value will be deducted automatically from the rate plan itself. If the rate plan doesn't have an origin selected, so it is empty, in that case, the value will be taken from the default booking origin that you will find in integrations, central reservation system, the CRS that you are using. I'm activating the interface, and by scrolling down, here you will see the default booking origin that you have set up for the CRS itself. So the value will be taken from the default booking origin. Another improvement, it is related with reservation and group status indicator that is added to the Action Manager and Action Manager reports. Now we have added the reservation status to all actions within the Action Manager. So by going into our menu, Action and Action Manager, by clicking on the filter button, you will see the reservation status. As a default, all reservation status are selected. However, by clicking the drop-down menu, you will be able to select the reservation status that you would like to see and check if there are any actions that are related to this reservation status. This is very helpful when you this is very helpful when you will need to check actions that maybe are related with cancel reservation or no-show reservation. In addition, we have added the hold status per group. So by switching into groups, we will see the hold status. By default, show all has been selected. However, even in this case, you will be able to select only the hold status that you desire. In addition, you will see the reservation and group status column on both standard and schedule action manager. So by going in our reports, new reports, and selecting action manager, you will be able to select the hold status and the reservation status as you desire. By going back in my report inbox, where I have already generated an action manager, here you will see the column with all reservation and group status for the selected dates that I have pre-selected. The reservation and group status column will be available as well in the printed version of the report. So here we can see the reservation and the group status, and as well in the scheduled report. Even in this case, we can see the reservation and the group status that is present in the report itself. Now, in the PMS, you will be able to indicate connecting rooms. We support now the ability to mark rooms that have a connecting door to another room or rooms. If configured, it will display a visual indicator in the application. This can be configured by navigating into our menu, settings, rooms, and again rooms, either by creating a new room or by updating or editing the existing room. In this case, I'm going to update my existing room, and by scrolling down, you will have the option to select if this room is connected with other rooms. By clicking the drop-down menu, you will be able to select the rooms that is connected to 101. In this case, the 102 is selected to 101, and I can save the changes. The connecting room will show a connecting room indicator on the room diary. So by going in our menu, from this room diary, we will see on the left side the indicator, and by clicking on it, you will see as well that this room is connected with the room 102. If you'd like to show the indicator as well on room 102, in this case, you need to configure in the room setup for room 102 as well the connecting room. Please be aware that the configuration for connecting room is not possible on rooms marked as suite rooms. In addition, the indicator will be shown as well in room assignment. So by going into a reservation, and by clicking on our room, in a room assignment, you will always see the indicator, and by clicking on it, you will see with which room the room 103 is connected to. So in this case, it is connected with 106. The room indicator will be as well visible. In our housekeeping and room status. Even in this case, you will see the indicator that the room is connected to another room. Another improvement is that now suite rooms shows on rate and restriction report by going into our menu, reports, new report, and by selecting the report under room type, you will be able to select as well the suite rooms that are present in your property. This will make possible that these rooms will show as well on the report itself. Another improvement, it is related with the reservation by user reports. Now, on the reservation by user reports, the room number will be displayed as well. By going into our reservation by user, actually I have already generated a report, and by clicking on the generated report, here we will see that the room number is as well visible in the report. The room number will be visible as well in the printed version of the report, which is a PDF format, in the downloaded version, which is a CSV format, and as well in the scheduled version, which again is a CSV format. And the last improvement for this release is the tax exempt type added to custom stay export. By going into our menu and then reports, by selecting schedule report export, and by clicking on custom export and add new export, by selecting the state data, in the select field, you will be able to select the tax exempt type. Here we are, which will retrieve all reservations that have a tax exempt type. In the same time, in set filters, by clicking on add new and then option, and by selecting in field name tax exempt type, you will be only to return data records that have a tax exempt type associated with them.
All right.
This is all for this webinar.
Yeah. Thank you, Arbor. I'd now like to turn over the floor for questions. Remember, you can submit questions through the question box in the middle of the control panel. So I don't see any questions right now, but I'll give everyone a few seconds to enter those. All right, if there are no questions, I'd like to take to the floor to offer some final thoughts. Well, let me switch to my screen. All right, so in this webinar, we explained how to import budgets per market code and charge code using CSV file, demonstrated that guest name and room number display for consumed charges on group allowances, illustrated the country column added to the yearly tax report, including the report's inbox and scheduled report, highlighted improved bill balance display when charges are posted to the guest bill and routing exists, demonstrated group Proforma invoice improvements, showed how to perform an Ideas G3 inventory sync, illustrated that the origin for CRS bookings will now display based on rate and configuration, highlighted reservation and group status indicators added to Action Manager and Action Manager report, showed how to set up connecting room indicators, demonstrated that suite rooms now show on the rate and restrictions report, showed that room number was added to the reservations by user report, and showed that the tax exempt type was added to the custom exports stays data space. All right, with that, I'd like to conclude our presentation. Thank you all for coming. And if you have any additional questions, feel free to email me at aaron.fisher@stayntouch.com. Thanks again.